Isn't that a fun piece? That was written by Claude Arieux. Except that Claude had a secret, and that was that Claude was actually Louise Marie Simon and wrote many pieces under the name Claude Arieux. It was her nom de plume, and she wrote hundreds of works in various formats and is going to be one of the many composers that you can hear on Saturday the 8th from 2 to 3 p.m., Voices of Her Own, a celebration of women composers. And I have two marvelous women players here. I don't know that you're composers, but I would love to introduce you to Twinda Murray, a violinist. Hello, Twinda.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's lovely to have you here. And also someone with whom I go back quite a number of years. Well, actually, we all three do now. Kathy Wibbling-Paul, and she is an oboist. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, thank you for having us.
It's so lovely to have you here. And this is going to be such a great concert. It's for the Gateway Festival Orchestra, but it's chamber music.
Yes.
That's correct.
I understand, Twinda, that you have been working hard on getting these community concerts going at various libraries. Tell us more about these.
We have been doing outreach concerts for many years. We calculated it's about 30 years. They started out as educational concerts. Part of the mission of the Gateway Festival Orchestra is to bring the music to the people. And we have the large orchestra, which performs at WashU and other various locations. But we wanted to try to bring that music out to children. And so Debbie Hefferkamp started a series of free performances for children to introduce them to classical music and to help draw them into this wonderful thing that we all enjoy so much. About 3 years ago, we decided that we would expand and start having those concerts, not just geared to children, but to also adults, because we know that there are many adults who haven't had the opportunity to really learn about and understand and participate deeply in classical music. And at that time, we also had some partners from the St. Louis City Library Systems that were interested in having us come in and perform. And so through collaboration with them, particularly Patrick Colson, who's at the Schlafly branch, and Jalen Bowie, who's at the Central branch. They invited us in and then collaborated with us on the specific programs, and they have just had really, really wonderful ideas. In fact, Patrick was the one who came up with the theme for this concert of featuring women composers during Women's History Month.
Perfectly timed. It's so great to have that kind of cooperation with our libraries, and they do so much to try and bring learning, like you said, not just to the kids, but to the adults too. It's such an intimate experience when you're in a library sort of situation. The kids are right there with you, and the adults too, for that matter. They can see how the instruments are played, and it's a great learning experience.
It is. It's very exciting. One of the added benefits is that a lot of people who didn't know about the concert and just happened to be in the library will come in and enjoy the performances, and maybe it sparks something for them that they didn't even know they were missing.
What a great opportunity. Give us just a little bit about your history, Twinda. What do you want us to know about Twinda Murray?
Oh, there's not too much to know. I am a native St. Louisan. I grew up, started playing in the schools. My dad is a musician. He's 83, and he's a musician, local musician. I wanted to play the flute, but violin started a year earlier, so I couldn't wait. I guess it's I guess it's good because the flute gives me a headache.
Oh dear.
Yes, so I learned at school first and then started taking lessons from Debbie Hefferkamp, who is on our board president, and who was the one who started the whole outreach program. She's
Debbie.
my musical mother. And I have taught in various school districts throughout St. Louis and just retired from the Ladue School District. And I think at my heart, I'm an educator. I really want to share this gift with everybody else. It's such a special thing to be involved with classical music.
Yeah, it is a gift. The funny thing is that the gift is in the giving, too, because it enriches us as performers to be able to share that with our audiences. Now, Kathy, give us what you'd like for us to know about you. This is Kathy Wibbling-Paul.
I, too, am a native St. Louisan and grew up with the music programs in the public schools up in North County. Started on flute and wanted to play oboe, but there wasn't one available at the school, so I had to wait until
expensive.
high school to actually get my hands on the instrument.
She really wanted to whittle. That's really what it was. She liked the reed knives and all.
Right. Went to school up near Chicago and played with the Rockford Symphony Orchestra for a while. Then the American Wind Symphony out in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Did 4 seasons with the Haydn Festival Orchestra in Austria. And came back here and do a lot of freelancing with a lot of different community groups and gigging.
Gigging around. That's
Gigging
exactly right.
around. And
We all go by that slogan, you call, I'll haul. Yeah. Right, Twinda?
That's right.
Let's talk about this upcoming concert. Everybody knows about the Gateway Festival Orchestra. You have this fabulously popular series that was at one point just in the Quad, but it's actually a couple of other places now. And St. Louisans love it. It's only 1 month out of the year, and people come in droves, have dinner on the Quad, and it's just a great family event. But this being a little bit of a departure in the Outreach series, give us, if you would, a little bit of background and a little bit of a feeling for what this concert's going to be.
well, the title certainly says something about it, a voice of our own. So we're concentrating on compositions by female composers. It shows that we have, as women, something certainly vital to offer the music world.
Amen, madam.
For the woodwinds, the woodwind quintet, we want to try to give a variety of pieces from different nationalities. We have French music and a Haitian piece by a Haitian composer, as well as a famous early American composer, Amy Beach.
You're going to be doing some Amy Beach in a couple of weeks, too, aren't you? Also, let's see. But on this one, you're doing her Pastoral for Woodwind Quintet. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You're doing the Quintet et Nu that was Claude Arieux, whom we just heard a little sampling of. And isn't it a shame that she felt that she had to hide her identity as a woman because she wouldn't have been able to successfully market her pieces? Things have
Right.
changed, haven't they?
Yes, they have, thankfully.
Thankfully. She wrote all sorts of stuff, stage works and concert works and things like that. Another person that you have is a piece called Avec plaisir, which means with pleasure. And that is Helga Warner-Buhlmann. Tell us about her.
Yeah, she's a German bassoonist and composer, a living composer. She majored in music in Bremen and Hanover, studying bassoon and accordion and music education.
There's a
And so
combination.
so she's mainly interested in music education. Her and her husband started a music school in Bremen. And so she started writing pieces with smaller and larger little ensembles to motivate her students to practice and make progress in a playful way. And so I found that all of the movements of this piece, they're all playful and fun to play as well as listen.
Why don't we just start a little bit of this with her march from Avec plaisir? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
That was the march from Avec plaisir. The whole piece is kind of like that?
Yes,
Am I
it
right?
is. I particularly like the first movement because each instrument kind of introduces that little
little
melodic line. And if there are children there at the concert, here's an opportunity for them to hear the different timbres of each instrument as they enter.
Wonderful. Now, you're also doing a piece, The Pastoral by Amy Beach, and then there's a Haitian folk tale And then we have a Moroccan village. On this also, you have a quartet, because these are all woodwind quintet pieces, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then there are also a couple of string quartet pieces. You want to talk about those, Twinda?
Yes, we have chosen a quartet by Fanny Mendelssohn, which is just a brilliant quartet with lots of the effervescence that you expect from that time in history. Just beautifully written. We are also going to play a piece that features oboe with the strings by Florence Price called The Deserted Garden. Florence Price has gotten a lot of press recently. She's been recently discovered, and again, brilliant writing. And then we're also going to play a couple of movements from Gwyneth Walker's Short Stack. Gwyneth Walker is an American composer, and I think the thing that might be interesting for the listeners at this concert is to see how each of these women really represented in their music their own place, their own culture, and their own time in history, and just were able to express what they are about through their music and not feel they needed to imitate other people, but just be who they are. I heard a really interesting interview with Gwyneth Walker, and she talked a lot about, first of all, what she was doing as a business. She was just a businesswoman. She writes music for money, and I thought that was refreshing to have a woman to be able to admit that and not feel ashamed or like she was selling out. She's being paid for her skill, and I thought that was great. But also, her music has a deep connection to place. She is very much a Vermont person. That is her happy place, and you can hear it in her music. There's so much nature represented and just this beautiful calm that she describes in that area in Vermont, and makes me want to go visit right now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with Florence Price, she's African American and definitely pulled in a lot of the influences that she felt from her church experiences, from her African American roots. And again, very unashamed. Just this is what it is, and this is what I need to speak about. And I think that is fantastic, and we need to encourage everybody in the world to do the same thing.
I agree. I love your take on it. It was so refreshing to hear a woman say, I do this for money. Julie Giroux, who does a lot of band things, has that same sort of take on it. No, this is my business. This is what I do. And we also all had the privilege of knowing Barbara Harbach. And she's just done magnificent things with her music. It's great to see the rise of the woman, if you will.
I think Barbara has a piece on the orchestra concert that's later on this month.
As a matter of fact, Gateway Festival Symphony, which I have in the lineup to play for it. So a lot of St. Louisans knew Barbara when she lived here. So it's kind of nice to have somebody among us, if you will, who's doing this. This concert is going to be Voices of Her Own, a celebration of women composers, Saturday, March 8th, 2 to 3 p.m. at the Schlafly branch, that's hard to say, Schlafly branch of the St. Louis Public Library at 225 North Euclid Avenue in St. Louis. Now, the information for this, and it also includes parking information, because that's a little tricky, isn't it?
It is.
You simply go to their website, which is Gateway Festival Orchestra, all written out, gatewayfestivalorchestra.org. That's going to be the orchestral concert featuring women composers, and we were just talking about Barbara Harbach's Gateway Festival, and that one's going to be at Pattonville High School. On that, there will be the fanfare for the Uncommon Woman, Joan Tower. What else are you going to be playing?
The Amy Beach Gaelic Symphony, a very special piece, River Cathedral, written by one of our own St. Louis musicians, Mary Sweeten. We're very excited to perform that piece. Then, of course, the commission piece. The Gateway Festival Symphony was a commission that the orchestra did with Barbara Harbach. I think it was on the 50th anniversary of the orchestra, so nice to bring that piece back again.
We can thank James Richards for help in acquiring that commission.
It's a beautiful piece, too, and it ties in St. Louis history. And that's going to be on March 14th at 7:30 in the evening at Pattonville. I know you love doing the orchestral stuff, but I also know you love the chamber, because that's where the real conversations happen among players. How much fun is that for you?
Too much fun. It's just amazing. It's amazing. If I could do that every day, all day, I think chamber music would be the thing because of the connection between the musicians, the communication between the musicians, but also the communication with the audience, as opposed to orchestral music. I think even when I'm listening to orchestral music, there's a little bit of a distance between the players and the audience. Yeah. Especially in these intimate settings, we get a chance to be up close and personal with the musicians and the audience, and that's just an incredible experience, especially for our younger people.
And this is only an hour long, 2 to 3 p.m.
It is.
Now, do you do Q&A afterwards?
Yes. In our children's concerts, the kids actually come up during. We invite them to come up and be involved. But even in our adult programming, we welcome questions, and there are often people who are very curious. I think at the Woodwind offering in the wintertime, that you had quite a few people that were...
Yes, we did. Many questions from adults. We introduced our instruments to the people and spoke a little bit about each of our instruments. So that spurred on a lot of questions, especially from our horn player about the long tubing that's involved and why the horn is in the quintet.
Well, and that's an enlightened question, too. Fantastic stuff. Well, everybody mark your calendar for Saturday, March 8th, 2 to 3 p.m., Voices of Our Own, a celebration of women composers at the Schlafly branch, I said it right that time, of the St. Louis Public Library on Euclid, and go to gatewayfestivalorchestra.org to learn more about it and also learn where to park and how to enjoy these two ladies with me and to enjoy all the rest of the players as well with the Gateway Festival Orchestra. And, of course, my thanks again to you, Twinda Murray, violinist, and Kathy Wolbling-Paul, oboist. It's just great to have you here. Yes, ma'am, Twinda.
I'm not sure that we mentioned that these performances, like all of our performances, are free.
Yeah, good point.
Free.
Thank you. Free, as in no money.
No
as
money.
In come, enjoy.
Come and enjoy.
Bring the kids.
Yes.
Please bring the kids. They need this. Yeah. And they need to be in a place where they don't have cell phones distracting them, where they can just enjoy.
Yes.
It's amazing. There's a whole other world. Believe it or not, kiddos. Well, I think what I'll do is to play out with the Price, the Adoration. What do you think about that? Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Florence Price. And this now is the March 14th concert. And that is the full orchestra. And we'll be mentioning that, by the way, as time goes by. This has been such a pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And here we go with Florence Price's Adoration, arranged by Jim Gray for violin and orchestra, Randall Gooseby and the Philadelphia Orchestra, Yannick Nézet-Séguin.